Hello. We are again getting back together to play the Sword of the Dales. I'm Lionel, the game master, and I got my three great players here. Marquise is back and joined us. So we're just going to jump right in. So you have just defeated the Zhenterim and spent some time binding your wounds and searching the dead. It's been about an hour. So if you'd like to give yourselves any benefit from a short rest, you certainly can. If you have any hit die left remaining, you certainly could use those as well. Just roll up any hit points and add them to your total, and we'll pick up from there. So the sky is like an orange smeared with red. The sun long having drifted behind the distant mountains. Darkness will soon come. There's almost that bluish gray that kind of spreads out from the orange, almost like if not for what your guys' mission was, it'd be a beautiful sunset. But you stand upon these granite steps, chipped and broken. These two large 20-foot statues to either side of you. The statue on the left seems to have taken some sort of assault from the valley. The sliding stones, which had once covered the entrance to Shraevyn's tomb, now open, has damaged it, causing one of its arms to fall at its feet. It appears to be like that of an elfin female in flowing robes, wearing a crown and holding a staff in her other hand. You see that her other hand probably was raised before her as well. To the right, you see a warrior in plate armor stand silent vigil. His right arm is raised, and his hand grips a Lucian hammer. A great helm covers his features, and the dull color of rock makes him appear passionless. The statue, apparently better shielded from the avalanche, is unscathed. Between the statues, embedded in the mountain itself, you see a huge metal door. The fading sunlight reflects off it in bursts, forcing you to squint to make out the detail of the door itself. What is it you guys would like to do?
I guess Laura Lynn would progress towards the door to go down and see what she can see when she gets close to it. Carefully.
Yeah. So as you approach this door, we just lost Marquise. Yeah, let's give him a second to maybe relog. Yeah, there he is. So as you approach this door, Laura Lynn, the silence is broken with what sounds like the mutterings of an old man. As you watch, runes and letters on the door ignite in a crackle of electric blue energy. The azure fingers crawling over the metal surface and create a soft sapphire haze. What? More visitors? Questions the old man's voice, which crackles above the glowing runes. I had hoped to see the last of trespassers for a time, considering what happened to the last group that was foolish enough to enter. At that, a low chuckle rumbles slowly from the metal doors. The voice continues. I suppose you'll be wanting to gallivant all over the tomb as well, won't you? Well, sit down before the door and answer my question. Then I'll let you in. As the last word echoes to nothing, a ragged melody reverberates from the door itself. What is it you guys would like to do? Laura Lynn, you may act first because you're closest to the door.
First thing I want to know is, am I getting any warning from my sword?
Your sword is not warning you at all. Remind me, how do we decide what is it? It gives you a thrum?
It's going to give me a mental ping, like the alarm spell.
Carol, you got like a robot. You're sounding like a robot right now.
No. I'm not sure what to do about that.
Okay. You could try logging out and logging back in. That might fix the problem.
Okay.
All right. What are you other two of you going to do?
You can hear me, right?
Yep. Yeah, you sound fine.
Upon seeing that Laura Lynn is not reacting to her sword, she strides up to where the door is, looking to each statue framing it, her journal in one hand and her other hand resting on the dagger at her hip. She looks up to the door now, squinting because you said the sun's reflecting off of it. And are there any more specific details? Is it did you say it's a metal door or a stone door?
Yeah, it's bound in steel. You see the door itself is not intricately. There's no carvings or anything in it. It's very well made, though. It seems to have weathered rather well the years. It looks still pretty solid. It's almost free of any sort of rust or any other type of blemish. You do now see that flickering on the door surface itself are these runes. These glowing azure runes.
Ooh, it's not Laura. So we start looking up at the door. She says, she asks of it, "Are you a spirit inside of the door? Or you the door itself? Or you a spell that traps it?"
Again, the old man's voice responds and he says, "I will not answer any questions until you answer mine."
And she says nothing to that. She just turns and she looks back behind her to see what Sly is doing.
Sly makes his way up to the door, kind of slowly walking. He's looking up at the large door. And he just kind of mutters under his breath, "I've seen a lot of things, but never a large talking door. But I'm always down for some riddles." And he kind of cops a squat in front of the door.
And you, Laurelyn, what are you doing?
She's oh golly. Can she examine the door more closely? Is there anything to look at there?
Yeah, all you should, other than just the door itself being in really good condition, it seems to be steel. You can see these glowing azure runes that have kind of, like I said, just kind of slowly spread across the door surface as the voice was talking to you.
Okay. You would look at the other two. I guess
Sly has sat down in front of this door. Sui was examining it.
Okay.
And something I should let you guys know, these statues are actually are almost 40 feet away to either side of the door. The steps that you're on are just very large and grand. Like if, Marquise, you weren't in the last session, but these steps, there's probably about 120 feet across at the top dais, at the top landing. And they probably rise about 15 feet up to the landing. So these two large 20-foot statues are 40 foot either side of this door. Yeah, Carol, so you sound much better. So as you're sitting there, Sly, the runes at first looked foreign and alien to you. You could not make heads or tails of them, but as you sit and you look at them, they almost seem to shimmer like with a haze, and then you can read them. And the same effect would happen for the other two of you as well. As you look at them, at first they start off looking foreign and alien to you, and then they shimmer, and then they come into a language that you're most comfortable with, whatever language that might be. And it reads as follows: "Friends to the end, they once exclaimed, boasting of evils they once tamed. Now they gaze in hate, friends now foe. But hearts deaf defy what minds now know. Mage against steel, fate of a cruel deal. A mirror haze of friendship concealed. Warrior's heart and wizard's soul, both fighting for the same goal. Magic against steel, fate of a cruel deal. A mirrored view of the end of the road. The sheath called for its sword. Wizardly energy withdrew to where it was stored. Together they gazed at the mighty door, and their fury for one another burned no more. Now honor burned and steadfast, an oath sworn to last, the bond of friendship reborn. And as you guys finish reading this, you hear the old man's voice say, "There is more to this story than simply friendship." What did both realize that caused them to cease attacking each other?
Sly, as he's looking at the runes and they start to change into something that he can read. At first, it's not, for some reason for him, rather than translating to common, it translates to halfling, which is an old language that he's rarely ever spoken, only with his family when he was very young. So it takes him a while to kind of, recognize what it is, and then he starts to read it, and he's translating it in his head, and it's taking a while, and you can see gears turning. But once he kind of processes everything and he hears the voice say what it does, he kind of looks at Sui and Laura Lynn just completely lost. He goes, "I have no idea."
Sui is staring at this door and she's reading the runes. And can you either repeat it or copy and paste it for me, Lionel?
Yeah, I'll repeat it. It would have been my prep would have been nice if I'd have typed it up for you guys, because then I could have done that. I was thinking that as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, that's a little bit longer than I remember it being.
I'll write it down as we go.
All right. Friends to the end, they once exclaimed, boasting of evils they once tamed. Now they gaze in hate, friend now foe, but hearts defy what minds now know. Mage against steel, fate of a cruel deal, a mirrored haze of friendship concealed. Warrior's heart and wizard soul, both fighting for the same goal. Magic against steel, fate of a cruel deal, a mirrored view of the end of the road. The sheath called for its sword. Wizardly energy withdrew to where it was stored. Together they gazed at the mighty door, and their fury for one another burned no more. Now honor bound and steadfast, an oath sworn to last, the bond of friendship reborn.
And when Suisato finishes reading this story / riddle, she turns and she walks down several, like about 10 or 12 steps, and then sits down and begins to think on what she believes the answer to be.
Laura Lynn quite practically asks the old man, "Do we get more than one chance at it?"
You hear the old man's voice kind of drag on. He goes, "Well, there are 3 of you. It seems fair that I will give you 3 guesses. Yes, 3 guesses."
Thank you. Well, she's not sure exactly how grateful she is. She could have used a lot more, but
You're welcome.
at least it's better than 1. She goes off to sit next to Sui and think also.
Sly kind of stands up and he looks at the door and he's like, "All right, so if we miss those 3, do we have to leave and come back, and then we get 3 more, or is this 3 for the day, or I mean, how does this all work? I don't quite understand. Do you guys get it?"
Yeah, there's silence to that, Sly. There's no response.
All right, I'm just gonna assume one and done, for each of us, and I guess we'll figure it out from there. Whatever.
I have some ideas, Sweetie says. And when she says that, she crosses her legs. She's content. She's still just staring essentially down the stairs and at nothing. She says to you two, not to the door, but these two, the ideas I have are nothing fully tangible. The answer could be that they killed each other because of how he speaks. The answer could be that they fell in love because of this idea of them stopping. The answer could be that they were the same person the entire time. The answer could be something as in realized that they had no need to fight anymore. There are possibilities.
And speaking just to Sui, not the old man, and also to Sly, Orlin is thinking, well, he said there's more than just friendship. So what would cause a person to quit fighting and swear friendship? I would kind of think because they have the same common goal, and they realized they could only do it if they went together. This is not for the old man, though. This is
right.
Conversation.
And I think we can all still hear you, Carol, but you are definitely getting that robot again. So I don't know if maybe if you click the bars up at the top, maybe just adjust your bandwidth a little bit. That might fix the problem. Okay, perfect, sweet. I'll give you that result now. So as you're sitting there on the step and Laurelyn is sitting next to you, and I imagine maybe Sly is either putting his hand in he's looking at this door, waiting for the answer to leap out at him, or he's maybe pacing around or whatnot. It dawns on you, Sui, that these great statues on either side of this doorway, one is a male, an armored figure, some type of warrior, and the other is an elven woman, an elven lady dressed in robes. You would probably guess that these statues might represent the heroes that are spoken about.
I imagine Sui realizes this because she looks to her right, almost not on a hunch, but on a cold, calculated idea of maybe the environment can help us. And she sees the broken statue of the woman. Then she looks left and she sees the warrior. And then she looks back to you, Laurelyn, and she asks you, this warrior statue, that does not look like an elf, does it?
Not so much.
The daughter says that these two figures were fighting each other. We have a man and a woman here before the door. Other than friendship, what could have stopped their fighting? Maybe love is the answer to call. And she looks to Sly, and then she looks to the door as if indicating for him to give the answer to the door. Not wanting to waste her chance, but fine to waste Sly's chance.
Sly is briskly pacing back and forth up by the door, and he's kind of reading along with his finger along the lines. He's reading it 6 or so. It just keeps reading it over and over and over, completely oblivious to everything that's happening. He's kind of walking back and forth, and he's real scratching his head. He's I used to be really good at these. And when Sweet looks at him, he's like, "What?"
Say that your
Come up
answer,
with
Sly, is lovers. Say that.
Love?
Ers.
Lovers?
Yes.
Weirder. And he goes over to the door, and he knocks on it. Hey, I got one. You ready? So a chime to start, or Is it love? Lovers? Lovers? Is that what it is? Kind of like looking up at the door, like, something. Give me something.
You hear the old man's voice reply, "That is not right."
All right, well, it's fine. Wasn't my answer anyways.
Hearing that answer, Sui stands up and she's going to walk to the female statue first, the one that's broken. And she's going to start just basically walking like around it if she can, if there's any like space to do so. She's looking for any kind of clues or hints she can gain from that statue, and then she'll move on to the male statue afterwards.
Yeah, as you walk across this landing and start to move around this large 20-foot statue of this elven lady, this elven mage, you notice as you move around the back, at the base of this statue, you see this vague outline, and it almost looks like a door.
And then she touches the outline. Does anything happen?
You can feel it. You can feel it. There's like a crack, like a
crack.
You can feel the outline of a door. You see no see no handle on it though.
So I feel like there's a door behind the statue. You're saying
it's actually like there's a door in the base of the statue. The base itself is probably about 6 feet. So there's like probably about a 4.5, 5 foot edge that you find some sort of door.
That's like a small it looks like it would have like a small space behind it. Sly, come here.
Yep. And he comes over there.
She steps to the side, and as she does so, you're going to see her kawaddle actually come from like the top of the statue, like slithering down around it, feathers and everything, and it kind of like just lowers its head just in front of you, and she points to this door and she says, "You see this, yes?"
When the snake comes like swirling down, he kind of like, "Whoa, hey," and he kind of falls back on his butt, and he got against the wall, to where the dungeon is. And he's like, "Oh, hey, oh, let's calm down now, sweet. I know my answer wasn't right, but it was your answer. So, right.
Find a way inside of this door here and take my snake with you. I'm going to be going over here to the male statue and seeing if I can find anything there." And with that, she's going to walk straight past you, Sly.
Yeah. So, Sui, you start moving there. What are you doing, Laura Lynn, as Sui calls Sly over? Are you still sitting up on the stairs?
She's going to get up and go over with Sui and Sly and look at the door and the statue.
Okay. Yeah. So as you're getting there, Laura Lynn, that's when Sui kind of brushes past you, heading towards the male, the warrior statue. What are you doing, Sly?
As Sui just says that, she walks past him. He just kind of, childishly mutters, "Yeah, sure, let me just go ahead and do that." And he kind of starts to examine the door a little bit, seeing if there's anything, he might be able to get, if he tries pushing it, pulling it a little, see if there's anything there.
Yeah, you don't see any sort of handle on it, but it's very clearly a door to you. I mean, it stands right out to your trained eyes. As you kind of run your hand along it and you kind of get up on tiptoes to reach the very top, when you get down to the bottom right corner, you feel a latch.
So he tries to trigger the latch.
Yeah, you trigger it. I need you to make a dex save, please.
I'd be standing back probably a few feet and have a weapon ready.
I'll give you advantage on your dex save, Laura Lynn.
Okay.
You're further back, but still close enough. Yeah, there's like an explosion of fire as you trigger this latch, and the door swings open, and this fire just engulfs you. You stagger back, Sly, and it still manages to singe you. You take 11 points of fire damage, and you're gonna take half of that, Laura Lynn. You'll take 5 of that damage. Yeah,
that ain't no joke.
And as the fire dissipates and settles down, and this door is now open, you see that it reveals a blank slab of stone, and there's a small placard set upon it. It says, "Hope you enjoyed the show." And you quickly deduce it's a false door. So you have now triggered this trap. So you're kind of smoking and cinder, kind of smoking a little bit. So you hear this kind of this whoosh behind you, Sui, and as a bright flash of like orange light, and then it quickly fades.
Sui is simply, it's very callous. She turns around and she sees the explosion. You see a second pair of eyelids cover her eyes that are green, and she's looking through her snake's eyes now, and she sees these two, and she sees the state that they are in, and that they're not there. One of them is kind of horrifically burned, but they're not dead. So the second pair of eyelids just opens back up, and she keeps walking to the male statue, not saying anything to them.
Perfect. Yeah. So you get to the statue. Give me an investigation roll, Sui, as you're checking the statue.
I got below a 10 total.
Yeah. So you look, and it appears to be just this large grand statue. It seems the only thing that seems odd to you is that where the other one took some damage from rock slides, this one seems like it's almost untouched. You kind of look up and you see that maybe it's sheltered a little bit more by the overhang that's carved into this rock face of this mountain. But that's probably the only thing that Sui would notice of this. And for those, I think, Sly, you're the only one that does not have dark vision, correct?
I think before it's just Mattias, actually. I think halflings have it.
No, halflings have dark vision.
Okay. Cool. So it's definitely getting darker. That orange haze is now faded to this like very faint pink. You're not quite sure, but you can almost hear from the door. It's almost like a tapping sound, like maybe someone tapping their foot impatiently, but obviously there's no foot there.
Laureline, I need a second pair of eyes.
Well, hopefully this one isn't as trapped as the other, but yes, let's take a look.
And when you walk over, she looks up and she points to the overhang. This looks like it would have protected it from rocks, but an overhang is not strong enough to protect anything from an avalanche. I feel like this is either a decoy or another trap, given that one was trapped. But I cannot find anything. And she is leaning against the statue, looking at Laureline. You and Sly, you too, if you can still move, please come over here and look over the statue that I cannot find anything in.
Sly kind of pokes his head out. Yeah, I think I'm good over here. I'm just gonna hang out a bit. All right.
Sly.
What?
We do not have time for this.
Time. Listen. That hurt a lot.
Laureline can
I'm gonna
find
take a
you
blow.
some aloe in the forest afterwards, once we open the door.
That's what I need. I need some aloe. That sounds great.
And then when you say that, the snake gets closer to you and just hisses in your face.
Whoa, all right. Like limps over there. I'm coming, okay? Jeez. Just give me a minute. Just give me like 2 hours.
So we quit harassing him.
Yeah, you would notice, Laureline, as Sly moves past you, that where his eyebrows were, they've been singed off, and the front of his hair has just been singed. And his face is kind of flushed looking from like someone that's maybe gotten too much sun. As you get over towards, just give me a investigation roll, Sly, as you get up to the statue. And you can give me one too, Laureline, if you join me.
All right.
There you go. So always got to have that in the backpack. Yeah, nothing stands out to any of you. You don't see this in any obvious door or anything in this on this statue or near the statue. It just appears to be a very well crafted grand statue of some warrior, maybe some hero of the past.
Sly's like barely even looking. Like he's just there so he doesn't get eaten.
Making it look good for Sui. I love it. So several minutes has passed, and so I would say you probably spent about 10 minutes searching this statue. The darkness has set upon the valley. There's that kind of eerie glow coming from these runes that are scrawled across this door. And but other than that, there's no other light here. I mean, you guys are all able to see with your low light vision. But what is it you guys would like to do?
I think Laura Lynn's going to whisper to Sui and say, "Do you think I should try the one whether it's the same person?" I mean, you could look in the mirror, but you wouldn't really be fighting each other that way if you were one person.
I agree. I don't think they're one person. The story says that there was a deal, that there was a mirrored haze, that there was something cruel about all of these, as if it was unjust, or as if it was uncaring. But other than that, I cannot guess. At least not yet.
Sly just kind of like looks over and he's like, in my experience, the only thing that stops people from fighting is dying. He just kind of rolls back over.
Would you like to give that answer, Zine Lorelin? That they're both dead?
Why would they only know that when they looked in the mirror?
Perhaps the mirror is their tomb. Perhaps it's some poetic form of the afterlife that you elves love so much.
Okay, I will. Where's that? She's going to walk up to the door and she's going to say, "My answer is death."
You hear the old man's voice say, "Well, it's about time. I thought you guys had left. Your answer is wrong, however." And it's almost like this dry chuckle. That leaves you with one guess left. I wonder what it is. Because you guys have guessed twice, if you guys would like to give me just a straight up intelligence roll, you can add your modifier, but not using a skill. No, Carol, the game's going to be short if you guys continue to roll this way. Holy Christ. So, Laura Lynn, of the group, immediately after you give your answer of death, you almost regret it. No, it's not death. These heroes did not die. They were fighting each other, but they stopped. And the answer lies within that. Heroes much like you guys. And that is the only clue that I will give you.
Laura Lynn mentions that to her comrades.
Well, did one of them win? I mean,
what keeps us going? We need to solve the puzzle. We need to work together.
If friendship is not the answer, if love is not the answer, they were still alive. And if the idea is that they have found a way to work through their differences to achieve what they were fighting for, then I don't know if it's not friendship. I don't understand what you people
Money.
are thinking. But perhaps the riddle is a trick. Can you ask us the question again, old man?
Yes. So one of the things that you would also remember is after the riddle was read, the old man's voice had said that there was more to the story than simple friendship. I'll repeat this part to you. What did both of them realize that caused them to cease attacking each other?
Maybe they realized that they were fighting for the same thing. They had the same goal. I guess.
And then Sweet Startle walks up to the door and she just stares at it blankly. She has accepted two things. She's accepted that one, if she answers this riddle wrong, she may die. And she's accepted two, if she answers this riddle wrong, she will quite literally just abandon this quest and go find another way to achieve her goal of being a hero. So staring at the door, feeling no emotional attachment to this, what's going on whatsoever, because she doesn't feel emotion, she simply says, did they realize that they were comrades?
Yes. You have answered the riddle. And you hear this, the runes fade, and you hear this, these tumblers giving way, and a click, and the door gently swings in just a little bit, just a few inches.
Sly kind of like stands. He's like, oh, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I still got it.
I walk over to Sly before we go in any place, and I just lay my hand on him, and I'm like, Sly, you're my comrade. Be healed, and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on him.
How much does that give me?
Okay. That gives you 1d8 plus 2.
You to bomb, Carol.
Seeing these doors clink open, Sweet Startle says, if you're still there, you said you'd answer my question if I answered yours. And she listens to see if there's actually, if this magical whatever it was is still there, or if it's just faded away.
Yeah, you get a sense there's just that silence. You hear maybe the sound, this slight scuffing of leather on stone from one of your companions, but that's about it.
And then blinking once, she holds up a hand to specifically Sly not to move, because she knows that this guy is, sometimes he does the not smart thing. And then Sly, you would see the feathered coatl moving through the air, slithering through the air, and then going between Swee's legs and then into the door through that small opening. And then her eyes just get covered by that green, jade-colored second eyelid. And she's looking through the snake's eyes as it enters into the blueness.
Yeah, as you look through your coatl's eyes, you see that it's beyond the doors is a large, like maybe 60-foot hallway. It's almost 30 foot across. But the strange thing is, as your feathery serpent kind of floats in through the air, you see this red, almost rose-colored disc appear above it, and it gives off this very this ambient light, and it lights up the area around your serpent. And as your serpent moves down this hallway, it moves along with it.
And is there any check you'd want me to do, like through like Sweet Startle looking through the serpent for like needs to see any traps or stuff like that?
Yeah. How much detail would you like to get? Because I can read you some more detail.
Sweet Startle is taking her time doing this, so she's
Okay,
looking
perfect.
for every detail.
So as that happens, what is anybody else doing? So we'll pick up just as your feathered serpent moves past into the hallway. What are the other two of you doing?
Sly's just kind of like picking up his stuff and getting ready to head out again.
All right. So what you would see this 60-foot hallway, Marquise. The ceiling itself is kind of arched up about 10 foot. The walls are just lined with mosaic tiles. As you kind of guide your feathered serpent to either side, you can see these grand murals on either wall of this hall have been intricately placed to create these epic scenes. In one, you see this what could be anything less than some king or some grand noble hero standing before this army, and he's holding aloft this great sword, and not a great sword like the two-handed, but some great magical sword. And shimmering around it is this emerald green light, and it just spreads out across this king and his men. If you look to the other one, you notice that same sword, but the king is absent, fallen in battle. And you can see also one of these men, the look on his face is covetous as he's looking at the fallen king and the sword still glowing upon his dead body. So that's what you would see on either side. So the mosaic to your left has this king leading this grand army with this emerald sword held aloft, and the other has this king having fallen, and the sword is laying across his dead body. But you can see one of the bystanders seems to be looking covetously upon the sword.
Sui is going to have the snake fly into the air and then move in like a zigzag pattern up and down, returning back out through the doors in case it would trigger any traps. And then she looks over to Laura Lynn and she nods her head to the door, saying, "You will go first, I will go second, Sly will go last. There will be 10 feet between us at all times."
Laurelyn agrees to go first. And she goes in very alert. And am I getting any pings from the sword?
You get none.
Okay, I would kind of like to look for traps as I go, if there's any.
Yep. Yeah, you guys. Unless you guys tell me differently, I'll just assume that you guys are moving cautiously, and I'll just use your passive perception. I'll have you roll anything if need be. So, unlike the outside of this tomb, you guys, these discs appear. These rose-colored discs appear over each one of you as you cross the threshold into this hallway, and it bathes it in this rose-colored light. You notice that unlike the outside of the tomb, the interior appears pretty well preserved. And the only dust you see is that was on your boots when you entered. The floor itself seems to be free of any dust. What is it you guys would like to do?
Now, I was away for a second on the very opening opening is of it, but is this just like a straight hallway? Are there any choices of where to go?
It's about 30 feet across, and it goes for about 60 feet. You can see that there's a room beyond, but you'd have to move further. And there's this grand mosaic that I described to Marquise on either side. There seems to be of the same individual with the same sword, but that's about it.
Then Laurelyn is going to continue forward.
Okay, perfect.
Towards the end of the hallway.
All right, excellent. And assuming that's the rest. So you're leading, Laurelyn?
Yes, I agreed to Sui's I'll go first. 10 feet behind me, Sui. 10 feet behind her, Kyle. Or not Kyle. Sorry, Sly.
Sly. Okay, perfect. So as you're moving down the hall, I need each one of you to give me a perception roll. Guys are killing me with these dice rolls. Killing me. So yeah, Laurelyn, you move down the hall and you see that as you kind of move along in this, and your eye, you have your elven sight anyways, your keen eyes. You can see that after this hallway, it opens up into a much larger chamber, and you can hear the light footfalls of Sui behind you. And as you're moving forward, you're almost to the end of this hall. You can start seeing this grand chamber. And before I describe it to you, let's go to Sly. Something catches your eye off to the right. You're kind of just looking, kind of just being careful, looking for anything that might stand out on the floor. You're kind of gazing across these murals. And because you guys roll so terribly, something catches your eye, Sly, in this mural. And it's near this sword that is laying across this king. And it kind of draws your eye closer to it. It almost looks like there's writing etched across the blade in this mural.
And he kind of stops and just like stares, and he leans in and he squints. Like for some reason, like he can't move from that straight line. So he's like leaning in all the way, like squinting at it. Like, is there something there?
Yeah. So as you lean in, you can see there's runes etched in this blade, this magical blade, and you read them. It says Giventhar.
Is that in like common? Like that's how it would read?
It reads as though common.
Giventhar.
Yeah.
Giventhar.
So you could give me a history check if you'd like.
All right. There's a song about it. Uh-oh. This die is much better. I'm switching die. That'd be a... Probably knows a song or a story about it.
Yep, you do. It's actually it's more of a ballad. You'd heard it in one of the ale halls in the capital city of Cormyr. Giventhar is a fabled blade. It's a weapon that is said to have been crafted on the astral plane. It once belonged to a powerful Githyanki lord who wielded it with great skill. A wandering adventurer looking for blood slew the Githyanki lord in battle, took the sword and returned to the prime material plane. He was immediately pursued by the lord's comrades, bent on revenge and vowing to recover the weapon. The human defeated the group, but he received a mortal wound in the process. It is said that Shraevyn found the weapon and took it before the Gith discovered its whereabouts. He hid it well, shielding it from the eyes of the Gith forever. Some believe Shraevyn hid the bastard sword in a tomb or temple, but others insist that it could not be. In any case, no one knows what has happened to it. At least that's what the ballad said.
So Sly, as he kind of reads it, he goes, Giventhar, it sounds familiar. And he goes to reach for one of his instruments to see which one it sounds more like, which one he remembers it by. And he grabs the lute and he pulls it around and he starts plucking and he kind of he starts to hum the melody to it, and he starts to play the song through in his head. And now he's starting to move more towards Sui and Laurelyn, and he's playing through the whole thing in his head, the whole story. It's all coming back to him, and he remembers the ale house specifically because he got extremely drunk. But the song sticks out in his head, and he starts to kind of go to the end. And he remembers the part about Shraevyn taking it, and then he stops and he's like, "Oh, sweet, I got something. You're gonna like this. All right. So you see over there on the mural, the blade says Giventhar. That's what that says. Well, Giventhar is the name of the blade. The blade was extremely powerful and rare, something or other, made on a different plane of existence, something or other. And then Shraevyn, that's where we are now. Yeah, Shraevyn, he stole the sword and he hid it somewhere. And I'm thinking that it's here. Like this is probably what we came here for, or what they came here for before us, and now we're here to save them. They're probably here for that sword. It's supposed to be like super special in some way or another. I mean, I don't know that much about the sword. I just know that's kind of what happened. So, do with that what you will. But I remembered that, so I'm hopeful.
After that whole because it was a super helpful speech, and she processes the information as being something important. Sui responds with a bland, "I see," and she keeps on walking.
All right, cool. Yep, you're welcome. Yep. All right, just gonna keep going. All right.
Laurelyn, what does Laurelyn do?
She's like, thank you, Sly. Sui, do you think we should try to get it?
It is likely the sword of Zidalos, and it is not the sword of Zidalos. It will help us, and it will be helpful for us in the long run, regardless. So yes, we should.
All right.
Cool. Game plan. Let's go.
Sly, give me another perception roll as you're kind of trying to catch up with the others. You kind of lag behind a little bit. Yeah. So as you start to, you kind of I don't know if you still have your instrument out or not, but as you start to kind of do a little trot to catch up, you also catch out of the corner of your eye, you see that a couple of the mosaic tiles are just out of place. It missed by Sui and Laura Lynn, but stands out to you. There's something not quite right in the wall on this right mosaic.
The same one that I read the Giventhar off of?
Exactly.
So I'm looking at the whole thing now, I'm kind of plucking just a happy melody, and I'm just yeah, I got that. That was me. I saw that, and I remembered it. And then as I'm kind of looking, I just see those tiles as round 2. Here we go. Something else helpful. What's that over there? Those tiles seem to be misplaced, and that's the only thing in here that's messed up. Everything else is perfect. So, I don't know if that's important or not. I think we should check it out.
Yeah, it looks like a few of these tiles, these colored tiles are loose. A small cluster of 3 of them.
And Sly would kind of walk over to it and see, kind of look at it a little bit. Maybe probably just right in the middle, just give it a quick poke of his finger, just a quick jab.
Yeah.
Sly, don't touch things.
You say that, Laurelyn, just as Sly finger, little halfling finger goes plunk, and there's a click, and the secret door releases and swings open a little bit.
As soon as the door starts to open, Sly runs back in fear of more fire. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, hey, I found something.
Sly, I don't have a lot more healing spells. You got to be more careful.
I got a couple. We'll be all right. It's fine. It's fine.
Quiet. And then she's staring at this door like it is the most threatening thing she has ever seen. And then the snake, as per usual, she will always do this, Lionel. The snake is going to begin to move towards the door along the air, not the ground. It's flying into the doorway.
Okay, so the door is not actually open. It just when you press the tile, it was enough to release the latch that held it. So it just comes open just ever so gently, so that you can see that there's a door there.
It's like a push or a pull.
We'll say it's a push, like you push it in.
I'm gonna have the snake basically wind itself together and then press against the door and then open that.
Surprisingly, it moves very easily. It's just a small door. It's probably about 2 feet across and probably about 4 feet. So you would have to step through it. Yeah, so it pushes it open, and it reveals a small chamber beyond. You can see bookshelves that are lined with books.
Sly, you have two options. You can wait until my snake finishes looking through the room, or you can go in now.
I feel like that's a trick question, and both answers are wrong.
As you're saying that, Sly, you all hear it first, and then you see it. You hear this, and you see this gas start to fill up that chamber. Where is your feathered snake, Sui?
It's going to be inside that room.
Okay, so just give me. Is it immune to sleep?
No.
Okay, so give me a saving throw then.
I don't know. Well, actually, I can just add the player's handbook right here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, just give it. Yeah, saving throw versus con.
As the gas starts to like shoot, Sly, he's like looking at Sweet like, I feel like both answers are wrong. And then he hears the gas. He's like, I'm gonna stay right here. And he kind of like runs over to Laura Lynn, and she's like hiding behind her a little bit. Right here, it's fine.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So you're probably feeling a lot better for yourself for deciding to step back from this door. Yeah. So are you looking through your how do you say it? Coatl's eyes?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Give me 2d4, Marquise.
6.
Yeah. So as you're looking through these eyes, all of a sudden you see them just kind of phase and lull, and you feel as your coatl. Oh my gosh, I'm killing myself trying to say this thing. It's coatl. You just feel it kind of drift to the floor of this chamber and rest asleep. You know that it's asleep. No harm has been befallen it except for it sleeping, and it's going to be sleeping for as many
6 hours. Whew, there goes that familiar.
No turns.
6 turns.
So.
Okay. Sweet looks to her left and she sees Laura Lynn and she says, "The gas in there will put us to sleep. Elves do not sleep."
That's true.
You actually see that the gas is starting to already dissipate. Just seconds after it was released. It might be because of the age, how long ago this trap was set, and it may be that it was just made to immediately incapacitate whoever entered that chamber if they did not know how to disable it. But you already see that it's fading. But you could definitely step in, Laura Lynn.
Yeah.
Immune to the effects.
She says, I got you, Sly. And she goes in there, looking around for anything else that might go on or anything she could see.
Right. So I will describe for you all what Laura Lynn sees. So stale air fills your nostrils as you pass through the secret door. Light spilling in from your glowing disc reveals a chamber filled with books, scroll tubes. A large desk is pushed securely against the northwest wall. So you're standing just inside the doorway, Laura Lynn. What do you want to do?
Okay. I would actually like to very carefully examine the large desk.
Okay. So Laura Lynn steps in. What are the other of you two doing? You see
before I actually touch it, though,
snake laying on the floor, probably about 4 feet from you.
Yeah. Before I actually touch the desk, I'm going to kind of poke at it with my sword in case that handling the drawers or anything is going to set off anything else.
Okay, perfect. And I'm sorry, what are the so you see Laura Lynn steps into the room and starts walking towards this desk.
Go with her.
Okay. So as the rest of you start to approach the door, Laura Lynn, without warning, you hear this clicking noise erupt from all around you. You look and you see these spindly forms start emerging from behind and up on top of these bookshelves. And you see these crimson glowing eyes, 8 of them on each of these from each of these creatures. And what really is most disturbing about this is that these aren't normal spiders. They're large, probably the size of a small, like a small sow. Even further disturbing is that they're not spiders themselves, but skeletal creations made to look like spiders, and they immediately close in on you. It's real initiative.
I am willing to bet that my sword is going ping, 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 ping.
Your sword went ping, like right as you take those. Yeah, you're going to have to keep reminding me about your sword. So you're not surprised, because as you take a stride or two into this room, your sword immediately goes boom. Like you got a text message, Laura Lynn, and it says, "You're in trouble."
I would imagine when I pulled the sword out to poke at the desk is when it went. I put my hand on it like boing.
Yeah, you're not even to the desk yet. You're probably like in the center of this room. Let me tell you how big the room is. The room is 40 feet across and 20 feet deep. So you were heading off to your left as you entered in, Laura Lynn. Sorry, let's get some initiatives here. So we got a 12. You got a 22, Sly? Okay. Sly, you're going to go first. Let me roll some initiative for these things. You see at least 8 of these things. So Sly, you'll go first. You'll kind of, do you yell a warning or anything, Laura Lynn?
Oh yeah. As soon as my sword pings, I'm like, look out! Something's coming down.
Perfect. So you're gonna go first, Sly. What do you want to do? You're in the hallway outside of this door.
So as they're kind of like, Laura Lynn goes into the room, and Sly's just standing, trying to get big next to Sui. Doesn't act too childish. As they start to kind of get closer to the door, Laura Lynn's fully entered the room. He gets closer, and when she says that, when she says to watch out, he kind of like rushes in there like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And then when he said they're like spiders almost, but 10 times more atrocious.
Yeah, they have their spider eyes are burning like this crimson fire, and they're skeletal.
And they're like all coming from the desk, or they're like all around the room?
No, there's these bookshelves that are arranged throughout this room.
Right.
And so some of them are crawling up over them. Some of them are crawling out around them towards Laura Lynn. They don't seem to have seen. It doesn't appear like they've seen you yet.
As soon as he enters the room, he's like, "Laura Lynn, what's wrong?" Oh, no! And he just takes off in the other direction, right past Sui, back to the middle of the hallway, and he pulls out his short sword, and he's just kind of, no, not happening, not today, no, let's go, keep going. This is a bad room.
All right, cool. So I would consider you maybe having hold in action in case any of these things come up to you. You'll smack them with your short sword.
Panic, in much panic, but that would be it.
Sui, you're up.
Sui's going to turn. She's going to swiftly smack Sly in the face, and then she's going to wheel back on her heel, all in that same action, and throw out her right arm. And as she's doing so, she's looking into the room, and you're going to see a red/green scaled ethereal blast shaped like a snake go flying into the room as she attempts to blast away one of these spider things.
Perfect. Yeah, you definitely can get line of sight on one of these things from where you're standing.
I got an 18 on the roll for 9 force damage.
Yeah, so you just shatter this skeletal spider. It just breaks apart, giving way to your eldritch magic. And anything else you'd like to do?
As she does so, she's going to shout out, Laura Lynn, come out now. That'll end her turn, and she stays in the hallway.
Is Laura Lynn surrounded?
No, you're not, because your sword was able to warn you before you got to the desk. Okay. So you're probably about 9 feet into the room.
Okay, so I can get out without a opportunity or anything like that.
And it is your turn.
Yes, so I think she will backpedal at speed out of that room. Get out of there, have her sword and her shield ready, and hold her action.
Cool. So yeah, you and Sly both.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you guys both have a held action. You, Sly, and yourself. These things come forward and they start kind of crawling in, and like they act like spiders, but you notice they don't appear to be quite as nimble as like a real spider. You've seen plenty of spiders being in the woods, growing up in the forest. The both of you, Sui and Laura Lynn. So they definitely do not seem like they have the speed. But anyways, they come forward. You count at least 10 of them, and they just kind of start crawling in through this doorway towards you. Laura Lynn and Sly, you can each make an attack of or your ready to action attack as the first few come through the doorway.
Sly's nowhere near that doorway. Not even within movement distance. Not happening.
Okay, so Laura Lynn, you can.
Laura Lynn is gonna miss. She's gonna wave her sword around, and I don't know whether she's upset or what, but she ain't hitting it.
Yeah. So even though they're not quite as fast, you swing your sword, but all you get is the stone tile work of the tile work of the floor. There's a chip of it as you strike. But these things just kind of swarm out into this hallway to try to close the distance on you guys. It brings us back to the top of the order. Sly, back to you.
How many of them are there?
You see at least 10 making their way through. Let me see how many made it through the doorway. So 7 come through this door, and you see a few others starting to make their way to the door.
So they're still right around the door though.
Nope. They've kind of flooded out. I had them.
They're all the way in.
Yeah, I had them use the dash action to close in. So there's a few. You see 3 around. You see 3 around Laura Lynn. You see 2 approaching Sui, and the other 2 are heading towards you, Sly. They're not quite to you yet. Maybe they're probably about 5-6 feet away. Yes, Sui, you could mentally shake it awake if you'd like.
Sly would probably use his action as a bardic inspiration. He's going to sheath his short sword and pull out his flute. And he's going to give bardic inspiration to probably go for Laura Lynn because he thinks that she needs help getting away from these things because she was in the thick of it. So he's going to kind of play just a quick melody. It's gotten a lot shorter and sweeter than it used to be. And that would be bardic inspiration to you, which is 1d6 that you can use on any checks or ability checks. You can also use it on attack rolls and damage. Yeah, and reaction to increase your armor class. So.
Perfect. Are you going to move further away?
No. How far is he from? I mean, he went back to the center of the hallway where they started walking in from.
Yep.
How far would he be from Sui and Laura Lynn?
You would probably be maybe 15 feet from Sui, and Laura Lynn's probably about 10.
All right, so he'd probably move.
Actually, no, it would be flip flopped. It'd be 10 to Sui and 15 to Laura Lynn. Laura Lynn's closer to the door.
He'd probably only move 10 or 15 feet back as to provide support and kind of draw their attention away, but he doesn't want to stay with. He doesn't want to be farther than like one move to either one of them.
Perfect. Yeah. So you move that distance. You move further down this hallway towards that chamber that Laura Lynn and Sui were almost to when you found this secret room, and that brings us to Sui. It's your turn.
Are the spiders within melee range of me?
Yeah, 2 of them are.
All right. Sweet Startle is going to make a very calculated risk here. The first thing she's going to do is she's going to try and leap over the spiders, and she's heading the opposite direction of Sly. So she's heading towards the enchanted door the riddle door that we got through earlier.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. As she's running down the hallway, knowing these things are going to take attacks on her as she's doing so, she is trying to ping the snake awake. And
yeah, you can actually give me an acrobatics check.
All right.
And if you succeed, then they won't actually hit with any attack of opportunity.
Why are my rolls so bad tonight? I got a 11.
Okay, so that's not enough. So they'll each make one attack of opportunity on you. And my rolls are bad too, so you have nothing to worry about.
All right. So as she leaps over, I'm just gonna imagine like she leaps, she rolls, she stands, she jumps back. As she's doing so, the feathers in her hair all turn white, and then you're going to see all the feathers on the snake turn red. It's going to shake awake, and instantly it coils its body, and it shoots forward into the door in an attempt to slam it shut, so the other 4 spiders cannot get out.
Perfect. Yep, and that's what happens.
And then once it does so, it's going to snake into the air in the middle of the room, so that way they cannot just jump on it and start eating it alive.
Yeah, perfect. Nice.
That would end their turn.
So what you would sense is that those spider things, they don't seem to have much in the way of any sort of intelligence. It seems like they just move on instinct or action, and they just kind of like they're just milling around, climbing up the bookshelves to try to get to the thing, but they just can't reach it. And Laura Lynn, you're up. You have 3 of these spiders threatening you.
Oh boy. I guess Laura Lynn is just gonna take a swing at the nearest one and see what she can do. Oh, switching dice seems to have helped a great deal. So yeah, she's gonna hit that one. And she hit it quite solidly as she swings her sword, and it's gonna be for 10 points of damage.
Yeah. So your blade cuts into this skeletal spider, and you shatter it, and its pieces just kind of scatter across the floor. But the other 2 still are attacking you. What do you want to do? Do you want to move? You want to stand your ground?
Well, if I move, I'm going to get attacks of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stand my ground and just keep my shield up and hope for the best.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So these 2 spiders will attack you. And oh my gosh, Carol, I'm sorry. I got a nat 20 and an 18 on my dice. Thankfully,
you're fired, Lionel.
Thankfully, they don't do a lot of damage. So that's going to be. So that's 8 piercing damage as you kind of block away one of it as it's kind of reaching at you with its limbs, and the other one kind of bites into your calf, your right calf, and you feel it pierce in. But you don't feel what you expect the next thing, which would be the injection of poison. No poison comes. And the other one hits you for 5 more piercing damage. As you kind of react to that bite to your calf, it opens you up and the other one strikes you. So you would see that, Sly. And you would hear the chitter as the 2 near you close on you. And both will miss. As you kind of just deftly jump aside. And you see, Sui, that the 2 that you ducked past are now chasing after you, but they haven't quite made it to you yet. And that'll put us back to you, Sly. What are you going to do?
Sly sees the other 2 coming at him and sees that their group is kind of now spread out a little bit. Lorlin has 2 on her still.
Yes, you see that she shattered one with her longsword, but the other 2 are still giving her quite the business.
Giving her the business. Sly would probably quickly flashbacks to Matthias and his time spent with him. He would put his flute away and take out his short sword and take a jab at one of these. He'd probably instead of like slashing at it, he would kind of stab at it like he's used to with his rapier. You know, realizing that's not the intended method, but whatever works. And that's a 14 to hit. So that hit.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, max damage. That's 8 damage.
Yeah. So it's not pretty, but you definitely kind of slam your short sword down into it. You pin it to the tiled floor, and as you kind of jerk it free, bone just flies everywhere, and you just see the fiery eyes just go dull as you kill it. Destroy whatever magic had animated it. What would you like to do? You only used maybe about 5-10 feet of your movement, so you still have the rest of your movement.
He'd probably circle back around towards Laurelyn. He'd probably like do a quick run by, jab the one, pull his sword out, and kind of make his way back to Laurelyn.
Cool.
With the rest of his movement.
Yep. So you just get to like side by side to Laurelyn. She's kind of sweating, using her shield to kind of keep the other two at bay as you get up next to her. And Sui, it's your turn. You have these two spiders bearing down on you.
So I have a question. Sui turns and she looks at the giant metal doors. Does she think, like, would she reckon that she has enough strength that when these spiders jump at her that she could step back and like slam the doors shut on both of them, or no?
The doors opened rather easily, you notice, even given their age. But yeah, you think that she thinks she probably could.
So you're going to see Sui Startle step back behind the door, both of her fingers just looping just very barely around the edge, and she's going to hold her action so that when the spiders get to jump and attack her, she's going to just try and smash them both in the metal doors. You're muted.
I am muted. Yes, thank you. Laurelyn, what do you want to do?
Laurelyn's going to go after the next spider. Just thinking about what she learned fighting with all the troops back there. You just hunker down and go, make your stand, fight for it. Which is really a waste of time when you can't hit anything. So she waves her sword around, misses.
I believe you have, don't you have Bardic Inspiration?
Oh, yes. Then I did not use that on the last one.
Yeah, don't forget me.
I don't know if it's even worth trying, but okay. Oh yeah. No. Start adding things in that I don't belong to add in. No, she's still going to miss even with the Bardic Inspiration, sadly.
Okay, yeah. So you're just desperately fighting. You did not think that such small things could cause such hurt to you, and that's got you maybe a little bit more defensive. So we'll resolve the 2 attacks on you, Laurelyn. What's your AC?
With my shield, it's 17.
Okay. So one of them will barely hit you for 3 more points of piercing damage, but you're able to batter the other one aside with your shield. And we'll do 1 against you, Sly, the one that's chasing up after you. 16. Yeah, okay. So as you get up next to your friend, you're going to take 4 piercing damage as you see this thing skitters up. It kind of skitters up your back, and you feel it bite into your back. But then you're able to kind of like swing it off, and it kind of skitters to the ground and then rights itself and is, getting ready for its next attack. And go, Sui, as the other 2 leap. Well, they don't actually leap, but they kind of come skittering through the doorway.
What do you want me to roll?
I would just give me an athletics or an acrobatics, whichever one you'd like to use.
It's going to be a 15 total.
Yeah, so give me some damage. Let's say 1d8 plus whatever strength you get.
All right, that's
and
So if we do that, it's going to be 0 points of damage because I rolled a 1 and I have a -1 to strength.
Well, you're gonna at least do 1. So the doors,
All
the door kind of comes in and strikes these spiders, but you kind of you didn't quite time it right, and it shuts, and you see like you crush off a little bit of one of their whatever the pincer things are, and you see the leg of one break. But what the other of you two would see is as Sui closes this door, she's effectively locked these other 2 spiders in with you, and she's on the other side. And these spiders kind of just turn around now that their foe is out of their reach. And that would be your turn, Sly.
Sly kind of makes his way over to Lorlin, and the one jumps up and nips him in the back. He shakes off and he turns around and sees Sui slam these doors shut with these 2 spiders, and she's gone. And the first thing going through Sly's head is this payback for the other times? I feel like this is not fair. This is not the time for these games. So now, about how far are the other 2 spiders then? The one that Sui just locked in with us?
Oh, they're about 30 feet away, maybe a little bit more than 30 feet. You think that it's probably going to take him a full round to get to you.
All right, and there's 3 of them right in front of me in Lorlin.
Yeah, there's 3 of them milling around you in Lorlin.
Okay, so because Sly's not all that bright, and he thinks that Sui might have just dipped out for whatever reason, he's going to basically take a gamble here, roll the dice a little, and he's going to set his short sword. He's just going to drop his sword and pull out his flute. And he just kind of looks at Laura Lynn. And he says, "I'm sorry." And he's going to cast Shatter, like right on top of them, and basically try and take out the other 3 spiders, but it would also damage Laura Lynn. So.
Okay. So that's a dex save, right?
No, it's Constitution save.
Okay.
Because it's thunder damage. Oh man, that's not good.
2 of them are just outright obliterated by the spell, and one of them saves.
That's 20 damage total.
Okay, so all 3 of them just explode in a splinter of bone as your spell goes off. And how does Laura?
Is there a save involved in this?
Yeah,
it's Constitution save against my spell DC, which is 13.
No, I get full damage and I'm down.
So as your spell goes off, not only does it shatter these spiders, and what's the range on it?
It's 10. It's a 10-foot radius, so 10-foot diameter.
Oh, okay. But you see Laura Lynn just gets blown back, and she hits the ground, and then she just lays over, unmoving. And you hear the click and the of the other 2 spiders as they're approaching. Sui, it's your turn.
Sui looks at the doors. Are those magical runes just reappearing on it?
Nope.
All right, she's just gonna push it open.
Yeah, as you push it open, they swing open almost noiselessly, and you see like the scene is one. You probably hear that thunderous like boom as the spell goes off, and you see Sly standing there with his flute. You see the spiders that were around them just having been turned to splintered bone dust. But you also see that Laura Lynn is laying unmoving on the floor, probably about 15 feet or so away from Sly. And you see the other 2 spiders that were chasing you kind of making their way towards Sly.
Seeing the scene before her, again, as usual, feeling no emotion, she realizes that Sly probably did something stupid with his flute and knocked the shit out of Laura Lynn again. But she sees there's 3 less enemies for them to fight. She approves of that. And then you see the feathers in her hair turn blood red again from the stark white they just were. And she hurls another jade and ruby blast of snake basically into another one of these spiders. That's going to be a 22 to hit for 6 damage force.
Yes, that's enough. So you smash one of these spiders again with your eldritch magic. It breaks apart as the spell strikes it. This jade and red serpent. And then, are you going to move at all, Sweet? All right, he had step away. So you're going to move at all, Sweet, after you do this?
She's not. She's going to stay at full range if we hit the door.
Yeah, you see that the other spider is still moving its way towards Sly. It seems to be not paying you any mind at all, even though you just destroyed its companion. And Laura Lynn, can you give me a death save, please? All right, so yeah, you slip a little bit closer to the veil as you fail your first death save. And now the spider will close on you, Sly. It has to take all of its movement to get into melee with you. So that'll bring you up.
Sly, as soon as he casts it and he sends Laura Lynn flying, he's just like, like instant regret, just like, and then Sweet opens the doors and he looks and he sees her and he's like, I thought you were gone. And he's just like, I'm sorry. He's going to put his flute away and pick his sword up and just run at this other spider and just try and smash it to bits. Now, basically out of frustration and miss horribly because he's not focused. That's like a 10 to hit.
Yeah. So yeah, you hit it, but it doesn't have the strength to cause it any real harm.
Just like flailing about now.
Sweet, you're up. You can do another shot or whatever you're gonna do.
Oh yeah, all right. Okay, so she has a 14, 19 to hit for 5 damage, and she hurls another blast at another spider.
Yeah, so you almost kill it. You see the bones crack as the magic strikes it, Sly, but you see that it's still hanging on to whatever animated life it was given. Laura Lynn, give me your second death save, please. Do not roll a 1. Is that what you rolled? That veil is that.
Yep.
That veil is looking really good to you right now. Nice, comfortable bed in the beyond, and the spider will make its attack on you. Sly.
Sure you don't want the spider to attack Laura Lynn, perhaps?
If it was intelligent, probably, but it is not. So it attacks you, but in its weakened state, it is not able to even get past your defenses, Sly, and that brings you up. What are you going to do?
Sly, seeing how horribly he missed, how horribly he hit the spider just recently, is now like panicked, looking back at Laura Lynn and back at Sweet, and Sweet blasts it with magic. He's just yeah. It's just kind of like
when you look back at Laura Lynn, you see that even though that her chest is only moving in very ragged breaths, you see that blood is just running from her ears and nose, and even around her eyes, you can see where the force of your magic just kind of concussed and forced blood. It's almost like tears, and she does not look good at all.
Slide makes the decision that Swee's got this because she's back now, so he's gonna just kind of push off the spider and sprint to Laura Lynn, kind of like putting his sword away as he does and pulling out his flute and does kind of like a knee slide right in front of her. All right, hold on, I gotcha. And he starts to play that song that he's played several times now, casting Cure Wounds.
Yeah. So the spider kind of weakly attacks, lunges at you as you push away from it, but it misses, and you are able to get your spell off for Laurel Lynn.
And that would be 1d8 plus 3 to her health. Does she roll or I roll?
The way Carol's rolling, I think maybe you should roll.
Let's go ahead and do that. All right, that's a 9 health back.
Perfect. So Laura Lynn, you feel yourself pulled back to consciousness. You see Sly over you. I'll let him describe what you would see. And at the same time, behind you, you hear that same, I don't know, does it make a sound at all, Sui, at all when you release your magic? If not, they would be silent, and then there would just be the cracking of bone as your magic hits it and destroys the final.
I imagine it sounds like at first like a distant hiss, and it gets louder and louder and louder until it dominates everything, and then you just hear that crack of bone in the next second.
Perfect. And so I'll let so that we're out of combat because the other spiders have been locked back into that room. So I will let Laurel Lynn and Sly kind of act out the scene of you bringing her back from the void.
So she'd probably see kind of as she starts to open her eyes a little bit, Sly's sitting there on his knees with his eyes closed, and he's just focusing on the song. And she might even see now, she might start to see this kind of green aura coming out at the end of the flute. You know, almost like a wind, and it kind of envelops her, and around her, you know, especially around her eyes were bloodshot from the concussion, the concussive damage, and you know those kind of start to mediate a little bit, and she kind of starts to feel a lot better than she did a few seconds ago. And then once her eyes are all the way open, she kind of picks her head up a little bit, and Sly notices and he stops. He says, Laurel Lynn, I'm sorry. That was my fault. If my magic did it, my magic's bringing you back. That was a mistake. I understand. Let's forgive and forget, please, because I can't have both of you hating me. This is not going to work.
Well, Laurel Lynn kind of takes a breath and coughs and looks up and sees Sly there, and she's just kind of, Sly, what were you thinking? Oh, I've got a headache. Oh, man.
I know. I'm sorry. It was my bad. I don't know what. I just thought that's the only thing I could do. I got him. We got it taken care of.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought Sweet was gone.
Good.
Oh.
I'm glad
I thought it was
you're
just me. Oh, man.
As they're having this little powwow, so Sweet just walks past them. She reaches into her hair and she takes out a feather. And as she does so, the camera shifts back into the room. And you see the familiar just turn into nothing but down feathers floating down. And then the camera shifts back to Sweet Startle, and she lets go of the feather. And you just see the snake literally just grow from it. Just these beautiful cascades of feathers and scales as it reforms. Because the Find Familiar spell lets me dismiss it and then resummon it in a space within 30 feet of me. So it basically conjures itself in a coil back around me. And she says to the two behind her, get up and let's go.
And Laurel Lynn looks at Sly. You don't have any more healing potions, do you?
Potions? No. I can finish the song for you. And you cast Cure Wound one more time.
All right. I'll roll this time.
Yeah, it's plus 3. 1d8 plus 3.
Had you guys used all the healing potions that you were given by
7 more.
Lieto?
I don't think Sly had any of them. He probably would have forgot and would have cast a spell anyway.
I don't remember how many we got. I didn't.
Yeah, you got 3 healing potions.
All right.
Along with the sword.
As far as Sweet knows, we have not used these.
So you still have them. So make sure one of you guys just make a note.
I think Sly gave me one last time. Isn't that what you said at the beginning? Or maybe he healed me with his song.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was. I have at level 3 they get
Now, are these
passive
healing potions in
during a short
glass?
rest.
Are they in glass, like jars or something?
Yeah, they would be
Right.
like in ceramic like
Because
jars.
I imagine the ceramic or glass, the shatter spell, since it's shatter, probably would have just shattered the healing potions.
Yeah,
Stop. Stop.
Yeah, right. So that would be another thing. Yeah. So anything that you would have that was glass upon you would be shattered.
I would say that Sweet Saw probably had them split them like one to each of us. So
Yeah.
hers would be fine, but theirs are just
Laura Lynn's doing one of these things, squeezing out.
Well, hey, if that one fell on me, it should have revived me, man, when it broke.
Yeah, I don't think it's through absorption. It's not like the patch.
Dang. So I don't have a heal potion then, that's what you're trying to say.
You did have one. Thanks, Marquise, for reminding me that about Shatter. So you guys collect yourselves. You spend a few minutes doing that. Suicidal, I imagine you just coldly move your way back down this. Once you get to the end of this hall, these similar globes that you guys kind of have floating over yourselves, other ones within this chamber just explode into light. And I think we're going to take a little 5-minute break right here. We're about halfway through, and I'll describe the room for you when we come back.
I want a short rest. That's what I want.
Yeah, you guys can definitely decide if you want to do that or not. Cool. So
we can have one?
5.
Well, what we could do is we could open back up the trap door, kill the 4 spiders, and then take a short rest.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I wonder what's in there.
Like in the spider room?
Yeah.
Yeah, kill the spiders and hide up in there.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to use my bow, I would probably be a little bit more likely to hit things.
Yeah. Well, if you have a short sword.
We should probably take a short rest because I'm low on spells and everything.
Gosh, yes. Well, short rest won't even give me spells, but at least I could use one of my...
But the health, at least.
This is my last D10 hit dice.
Sweet Startle is in tip-top shape, so she's good to do whatever you guys feel is needed.
Well, I don't think my... I'm up to 16 hit points, man. I'm rocking it.
I'm still like half burnt. I
did heal you.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that my face is all
that's
charred.
True, yes. And then I've got a knot in the back of my head and a headache. Wonder how that happened.
Wasn't sure how that one was gonna go. I was like, this is probably bad. And then I rolled like so much damage. Like it's 3d8, which is already a lot. I had 7
hit points when you did that.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd make the save and it would half the damage, and you might like.
It was still going to put me down.
By.
It was going to put me down in either case.
Because I rolled on 3d8s, I rolled an 8 and 2 6s. So I was like,
yeah,
are we?
Freaking roll.
Like, oh no!
I got to run for just a second. I'll be right back.
I see that clearly. Sui is the superior spellcaster here.
Certainly.
Well, I don't know. Sly helps to keep folks up.
I don't think Sweet Startle's ever been in. Well, no. She almost dropped down that one time against the black bitch, but that was because she, for the first time in her life, she had made a miscalculation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that played out well.
Hold on. Let me just go ahead and watch Sui cast a Bardic Inspiration. I'd love to see what that would look like.
Don't need Bardic Inspiration when you have Eldritch Blast is all I'm saying.
I'd just love to see what that would look like. Just Snake kind of like comes up and just hanging out right there, just like, all right, you got this.
I think Sui inspires in a much different way.
Yes. If I wanted to use snakes, I would have the snakes bite people, and I would just say that poison just floods your body with adrenaline. That would be cool.
Yeah. I don't like that at all.
Just creep you out. She would just stare at you. You do what she said.
Of course, you die after the effects of the.
Yeah. Right. Like it raises your heartbeat to like 300 beats per minute. So like at the time, like you're really good, but afterwards your heart has a heart attack and you die.
Just like straight Super Saiyan for all of 2 rounds, and then you do.
It's like the haste spell.
Oh. I feel like Lionel, when we get back to town, I need to use my downtime to discover a way to turn snake venom into haste spells. Sui's going to become an alchemist.
Right. There you go. That'd be a good profession for her to spend her downtime doing. learning alchemy. So I'm glad you guys survived the beginning part of Shraven's tomb.
Could have been
It's
worse.
gonna be rough. It's gonna be really rough.
Could have been worse, and I wish I could say that was probably the worst thing in here, but it's not.
I'm gonna let Sui be the lead in the future. Heck with
What?
this.
Sweet's going to look at Laurelyn and be like, she's going to indicate just for you to keep on walking.
Right.
I'm gonna look at you and say, "No, you're all right. I'm not." Did you say we got a short rest, Lionel?
No, you could take a short rest if you want, but you'd have to spend an hour doing that. So Sui goes forward, and as she does, maybe Sly is helping you get back to your feet, Laurelyn, and you can see that she is just bathed in this crimson rose-colored light. The chamber is just aglow with this scarlet Sui. You see these globes up in the ceiling, up above, and they're lighting this room, this chamber. You see cracks running along the surface of the plaster, making a beautiful pattern in the stone. Nevertheless, it appears secure, as if the ceiling will not fall down upon you. The first thing you notice in this chamber is a huge silver circle, 30 feet in diameter, that has been inlaid in the stone floor. A large sun symbol is set into its center. 8 round, shallow, low depressions encircle the outer edges of this symbol, and each depression nearly touches the ray from the sun. 10 small alcoves are set into the walls, 5 on each side, 1 on the north and 1 on the south. A glint in the darkness of each alcove catches your eye. If you move closer, you would see that you find golden 3-footed tall pots in each one. A message appears to have been melted into the silver door in the west, but you cannot read it from where you are.
Sweet's going to turn and look back to her compatriots who are slowly standing up, and she says to one of them, well, she says to both of them, "One of you come with me in here, the other one of you go back and close the doors to this hallway."
I got the doors. Sly head back.
Laurelyn's like, "Oh, fine. I'll go with Sui."
Here's what we're going to do. These 2 alcoves have something in there, and that's at the door. And then she says that the snake is already moving to the door, Lionel. So that way, by the time she's done explaining her plan, she can then read it. But she says to Laurelyn, "It looks like we need to put something into these depressions around the sun. 8 somethings. Once we do that, perhaps something will open up, or we all die." So,
Or something will up, and we will all die.
yes.
Laurelyn's not feeling too optimistic at the moment.
Sweet Saddle ignores like the emotion in your voice, and she looks to the alcove in the south, or in the north, I guess, opposite from where she's at, and she says, "Go look at that one."
Maybe I'll wait and let you look at something this time. I think it's about your turn.
And as you say that, creepily, you just see the second pair of eyelids just close in front of her eyes as she begins looking through her snake's eyes to read the inscription on the door.
Yeah.
We'll wait here for a moment and see what happens.
The inscription on the door reads as follows: "Some decisions are more lasting than others." And beneath the writing on the door, you see a strange symbol.
Is that everything?
Yep, that's it.
All right. She repeats that sentence to you, Laurelyn.
Doesn't help much. Do we know anything about the symbol?
You can give me an arcana or a history.
Sure.
Sweet.
Sometimes I can roll those.
Yeah, actually, any one of you that go up and approach the door at the back of this chamber.
I fail.
I'm going to fail too. I know nothing. I hit nothing.
Neither do
I
I.
heal nothing. No.
Lyle, do you want to give it a look?
I'm not even there yet.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to close the
You're
doors.
closing the doors. Okay, perfect.
I don't know how long that takes, but
So probably about 30 seconds to a minute later, Sly comes padding into the room, just as you guys are looking quizzically at this symbol, and you've never seen it before.
So,
all right,
folding.
what
Go
I
ahead.
miss? He just comes in.
Right.
And he's
So
like,
I'm just going to
what I miss?
recap the. So obviously, in these old adventures, they have this nice box text that really assumes a lot. So I'm just going to give you a description of the room, minus the box. So there's this 30-foot silver circle in the center of this room. The room is roughly probably about 70 by 80 feet, with 80 being the width. And at the ends of this, there's 5 alcoves. And Sui, you saw in these alcoves are these golden 3-footed urns. And the silver symbol has a, in the center of it is this large symbol of the sun. And at the end of each of these points that are spreading off from the sun, there's like a depression that almost touches the point of the sun.
How many points?
There are 8 of them.
Sui's going to cross her arms and lean against the doorway that we use to go into the chamber. And she says, "You two can either rest here and let me investigate these alcoves, or you can help me make this process faster. This is up to you."
I'm thinking I need a rest. I've got to get myself back together here before I go on, if it's possible.
Yeah, it seems like it's fairly safe here. It doesn't look like anything, unless that door should open, or if those, and you would probably surmise that the spiders are probably not going to get the door open, the secret door behind you. So yeah, you could definitely take a short rest here if you'd like. And Sui, you could definitely check out these alcoves while Laura Lynn is resting if you'd like as well.
Yeah, she will most certainly do that.
Okay. So how would Sui go about investigating these and alcoves?
So knowing she has at least an hour or so, give or take, of time to take her time, she's going to be basically leaning against the chamber, and the snake will do all the heavy lifting. So looking through the eyes of the snake, she is going to have it move over to one alcove, starting with the north one, and she's going to have it with her dark vision, and its own dark vision, I suppose, stare into each of the urns, study the urns, see like if there's anything around the urns, just stuff like that. Taking her time to make sure she doesn't like miss anything.
So what I will do is, because there's 5 alcoves to either side, I'll start with that one closest to the way you came in, and then I'll do the 5 there, and then I'll do the 5 after the descriptions. All right. So as you bring your snake there to look, twin bands of blue-white energy traveling up and down the surface of this jar, crackling and popping as they move. You can almost swear that you hear the low hum emanating from the container. So that's what you see in that first alcove around that jar. The next one, a fire emblazoned shield appears in front of the container. As you gaze at it, the fire turns a deeper red, flares up in a burst of light, then subsides. The shield glows brightly, then vanishes. That's what you see as your snake approaches that second one. The third one, a golden jar shimmers, becomes heavier, then turns earthen brown as your snake approaches it. Then the fine workmanship of the vessel is transformed, and it is slithers into a clay-like lopsided shape. And as your snake watches it, after a few moments, it becomes a sparkling silver and then it returns back to its original form. The fourth one, a carving of a skeletal humanoid appears on the surface of the jar. A cracked helm and a rusty sword are all that the ghoulish figure carries. It makes no movement, but its ghastly appearance is bone-chilling. The face of the skeleton on the canister appears almost too real for comfort. And the last one on this wall. As your snake approaches it, you sees that there is a book inside the golden vessel that should be crumbling, though appears to be crumbling. Ancient pages are brown and curled. The book is open, and you can detect a faint brown glow coming from the paper pages. And are you going to move to the other wall? All right. So as you move to the other wall, so I'll go with the top one and go down back to back towards the entrance. The lid of this jar is missing. When you bring your snake closer to peer inside, you see moist, dark dirt that fills the container about 1/3 of the way. And the one after that, you would see the golden surface of this container moves and jumps, and you find yourself gazing upon an intricately carved weapon. Runes of power are etched across the steel blade, and the whole sword glows with a flaring azure radiance. Okay. The seventh one? Eighth one. The surface of the jar shimmers for a moment, then reveals the area outside of the tomb. The tall statues still stand silent, gazing across the broken shadowed landscape. The glimmering silver door remains open. Second to last one. A burst of golden energy leaps from the pot, flies around the room, strikes each of the pots in turn. It is then sucked back to its container, and with a resounding thud, the lid closes the jar. And the last one is the golden vessel of this alcove seems to glow brightest as you approach. Just as your snake reaches it, it disappears. So that's what you would see.
What did the door say again?
What did the door say?
Yeah.
The door said, some decisions are more lasting than others.
So she would be conveying all this information to her compatriots as they rested. And they'd probably see a lot of these effects. And so a lot of them are very, very visual. Like we had like leaping fire and shape-shifting pots and flying lights and all that weird stuff. So when she's done, the snake returns to Sweetstottle, and I'm just kind of coils beside her. And she's looking at the 8 depressions. There's definitely only 8 depressions, right? And the door, does it look like it's locked, or does it open, or does it look like it might open, or?
You surmise that you would need to figure out the riddle of this room to get that door open. You believe some great magics hold it shut.
So Sweetstottle, her green eyelids opening again. She looks back to the other two and she asks them, "Are you done resting?"
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go.
Sly?
Sly would probably be playing his flute kind of softly and calmly, like idle background music, which is partially what helped him and Laurelyn heal up more. He would kind of, in the middle of a song, just stop. What? Oh yeah. I mean, I'm good. Yeah.
So we have a jar of lightning, a jar of fire, a jar of earth, a jar with something undead on it, a jar with a magic book, A jar that has moist dirt inside of it, no lid. A jar that turns into a weapon, a jar that shows a map of the area, and a jar that has light flying around the room, and then lastly, a jar that has disappeared. We have 8 depletions that surround the sun sign. I'm assuming the jars must be put into these 8 depletions.
Yeah. Anybody that can cast arcane magic can give me an arcana check as you've done your research, Sweet.
Swiss auto fails again.
This is going to be a rough session with the way you guys
Guys
are
are
rolling.
betraying me in anything that's
I
not
got
combat.
13.
What'd you get?
13 on an Arcana.
Do you
Arcana.
cast arcane magic or do you cast divine magic?
Oh,
They never clarify it for the ranger in 5e.
Oh, yeah. But I think your spells are off the. I think they use
Druid
the
list.
spells.
Well, it's some special ranger only spells with some druid, but it used to be
Yeah.
divine anyway. So
it was divine?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it uses wisdom rather than intelligence, so it probably is, huh?
So yeah, Sweet, you believe that that's pretty sound assessment of what you found from the jars.
Sly got a 20. Would he know any better?
I don't know if I count as arcane at all.
You're kind of a mixed bag because you're a bard, right?
Could I get maybe something out of that?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give you something out of that.
Cool.
So as Sweet, so I'm gonna. This is what Sly knows. What you're going to do with it is up to you. So this is only Sly's knowledge, not Laura Lynn's or Sweet's. So as you're listening to Sweet explain this, Sly, something just doesn't sound right. Like she's kind of got it, but she's missing something. And and maybe it's because you got fried by fire. You were almost put to sleep and then almost killed by skeletal spiders. Just in the short time you've been in the at this tomb, you get these like warning flags going off. Like you got to do this right. Something bad is going to happen if you don't figure out this riddle.
So Sly's just kind of like he's looking around the room, looking at all these jars, and he's all right. Let's take our time with this one.
Of course. That being said, go ahead, Lionel.
So what I am going to do, just for ease of, because we're playing this all theater of the mind, and this was really developed to be done with some sort. Well, I guess you could have done it theater of the mind. So what I'm going to do is, so if you're walking into the room, I'm going to label the alcoves A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way around. So you should, the last one will be J. So if you went around like this. Those are the first 5 here, and then the other 5. So J would be at all the way. So you guys can let me know how you're going to approach this riddle. And I actually, just because I want to throw you a bone, because you've taken an hour to do this, Sui, I'm going to assume that you also spent some time and looked at that symbol on the door again, and I will allow you to make another check.
14.
14 is enough. So it seems to be the symbols of the elements, the 4 elements: air, earth, fire, and water. And you get this kind of feeling like that is a hint, some sort of, and like I said, it's been scrawled into this door. So somebody had kind of gave you guys like a little cliff note, a little cheat note that you could use.
Sui is going to look to the other two, and she says, we need to each go to a different jar and begin to investigate these jars hands-on. We may die from these. And then she's going to start walking to jar A. No, sorry, jar B, which should be the fire jar.
Yes. Yeah, that was the burst of golden energy leaped from the jar. And once you do that, Sui, the exact same thing happens. This bright flash of golden light shoots past you. And as you do so, a lovely bouquet of flowers suddenly sprouts from your shoes. they immediately bloom and grow to full height out the tips of your shoes. So like the Wizard of Oz, and when she's at the Munchkin Land and they have the little flowers on their shoes.
Yeah.
That's what Swee's shoes look like right now.
This is a new character detail I did not expect.
Yep. And so long as your shoes are on, you have a -4 on any dexterity skills that you make.
Seeing that these boots are now literally useless,
Yeah.
she is going to stop and unbuckle the shoes because she knows that this is a trap.
Not practical.
So,
shoot.
oh shit. He's rolling dice. What does it mean?
I don't know, but Laura Lynn's getting her bow out and getting her arrow ready.
I take the shoes off. Now my hands are flowers.
So then the light kind of diminishes, and the lid on the jar just kind of shakes a little bit, and it settles back down.
All right. So having go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the jar with earth and examine that.
The jar with earth. That was the
one after fire.
So we see.
C. Okay. So you're going to C. So the surface of just Char shimmers for a moment and reveals the area outside the. No. It wasn't C. C was the one where you saw the image of the door that you guys
going
entered.
backwards because I thought C with the lightning one with like the blue energy, then the burst of golden light.
Yeah. No, I started on the left. So that's A, B.
Okay. I meant to go to I then, but okay. So then you would be going to H. Karen.
Okay.
I think Carol's going to H. She's either going to H or J.
Whichever one is. Oh my gosh! Yeah, now that you've got them going 2 different directions, I'm totally confused.
Right.
Yeah, probably H. I think it's H.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you wanted to go to I, right? You said.
Yeah.
So you would go to H.
But I'll stay at B for right now.
Okay.
So
this is the one that it seems rather plain to you. This golden jar shimmers, and what are you going to do? So it's kind of sitting in this alcove.
Me?
Yep.
It's just sitting there shimmering.
Yeah, it just shimmers. It seems to have this clearly magic is in play with all of these jars.
Is my sword giving me any warning?
No warning. No.
Then, can I tell anything through a perception roll? Do you think?
No.
Or
probably not.
I'm just gonna reach out and touch it then.
Okay, you touch it. It feels cool to your touch, and that's about it.
Then this is the one that when the snake went to it showed like dirt.
Yeah, it slithered a bit, and then it transformed into clay. It looked kind of lopsided. Then it turned sparkling silver, and then it returned back to its normal form.
I asked Sui, I'm like, Sui, this one turned silver when your snake looked at it. I wonder if that means it should be like the first one or the last one.
Why would silver make it the first or last one?
Well, because the circle's silver, or the sun is. I don't know. I just seems that was probably means something.
Does it have a lid?
Does it have a lid?
Yes.
Okay.
Open the lid.
I opened the lid then. What the?
Yeah, you open the lid, you look down inside, and it appears to be empty.
It looks empty, Sui.
And it's not turning into clay or silver?
No, it's not doing anything. It's just shimmering. There's magic here, but it's not.
Swee's eyes there when she looks at Sly.
Lionel, I want to ask if Sui went to B. What did the snake see at B? Because it doesn't match.
Yeah. So the one that was the one with the burst of golden energy leaping from the pot, flies around the room, strikes each of the other pots before it returns back into the pot.
Sly would make his way over to the one that had the weapon on it or in it, however that one went. He would look at that one again.
Okay.
Let's see. Or A, C or A, I think.
It is. It was D.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? This list
I
I
got a
made is
list.
not working.
Yeah.
I got a list.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to quickly, let's just step out of character here real quick. I'm just going to quickly go A all the way through, and I'll just give you like a word or two just so you know what what corresponds with each letter. So A would be, is the golden vessel appears brighter, and then it disappeared. So the urn disappears, and an A, because you saw it was glowing and then it disappeared. B was the burst of light that bounces to all the jars. C was the one that gave you like the vision of the tomb from the outside, looking at the open door. D was the one that had the was the weapon with the runes of power etched in it. Was D. E was the one where the jar did not have a lid. There was moist dirt, dark earth in it. Okay. F was the one with the book, had the book resting across the top of it. It was open, and it looked like an ancient tome with curled brown pages. G was the one that had the skeleton etched into the side of it. That was kind of disturbing to look at. H was this one shimmered gold as well. And it was the one that shifted like a snake and then turned silver, was H. F is the one that had the fiery shield. I was the one with the fiery shield. And J was the one that the surface of the jar was crackling and popping with a magical energy.
Yeah, so I would head to D and I would examine that. Specifically the weapon. And basically what he's looking to see is if it looks anything like the one that he saw on the mosaic in the hallway there. If it's the Garthun, I think it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you look, it does not look anything like the weapon. Yes.
Is there a lid on there? Can you open it up?
Yep, there is a lid.
Is there anything inside?
There's nothing inside. But as you're looking at this weapon, you notice, you kind of step away from the jar as you put the lid back on, and you notice the weapon has moved. And it slowly is turning until the blade is pointing down.
And then it stops?
Yep.
So Sly would look to Sui and Laura Lynn and say, the sword moved so that it was pointing down. So maybe this one goes in the bottom of the sun?
Yeah, and as you say that, Sly, and then you turn back to look back at the jar, you notice that on the hilt of the sword, you see a piece of paper tied by a common string.
Grabs it and reads it.
You can't grab it. As you got your hand kind of passes through it.
He doesn't grab it. He tries to, though. All right. Somebody else should probably take a look at this. I have no idea what's happening here.
Right. And as you finish saying that, you look back in the jar, and now the image is gone. It's just a plain golden urn now.
Well, I didn't like that one bit.
So you do get a sense that what needs to happen is 8 of these jars will unlock the door. You have to lay them out, obviously, on this etching on the floor.
And there's no symbols that correspond on the etchings, right?
No.
All right. Sweet's going to go up to the jar that shoots out the magic light, and she's going to open the jar, having
Yeah.
taken off her flower boots.
Flower boots. Yeah. Once you do that, a dark cloud starts to form above your head, and a light rain begins to fall down upon Sui.
Sweet looks up, and then she looks at you two, and then she looks back up, and she puts the lid of the jar back onto the jar.
Yeah. You put the lid back on. It's still raining on you.
And then she takes it back off.
Nothing else happens.
She's then going to walk over to jar number E, and she's going to open that jar.
Okay, E. All right. You open the jar and you see moist, dark earth.
Does
And
it read?
it fills the container 1/3 of the way.
Does the rain fill it anymore?
Rain does fall into the container. You see it soak into the earth.
All right. She looks to the other two, careful not to move towards them because she doesn't know if this rain is like actually poison acid, kill you in 3 seconds rain, or just normal magical annoying ass rain.
It's just light, normal rain. And as you're moving, this little cloud moves. It's like a cartoon, you know.
Yeah.
So you see Sweet moving. Her like little flower boots are off in the corner somewhere, and she's walking, and she's got this rain coming down on her head.
So then she's going to move the jar I with the fire shield. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I was going to move to jar A,
All right.
the golden vessel that gets brighter and disappears. Does it do anything weird when I come up to it?
Which letter was that one?
Letter A.
Letter A. Nothing happens as you approach it.
Okay, then I'm going to open it.
Yeah, when you open it, it seems to glow brighter.
And that's it?
Nope. Then it disappears.
Do I still have the lid in my hand?
Yep. You can't see it, but you can feel it in your hand.
Okay.
This room is filled with fuckery.
And if I feel
Remember whose tomb you guys are in.
if I feel for the jar, can I feel it to put the lid back on it?
Yeah, you find the jar. It's there, even though you
That's
can't
what I'm
see
going
it.
to do.
Sweet Saddle sees this, and she's going to say, take that jar to the one that produces light and see what happens.
Okay, which one produced light?
That would be B.
First, okay. The one that grew flowers on your feet and did all those crazy things?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I will pick this. Can I pick the jar up?
Yeah.
I must be able to.
As you walk in there, and do you have the jar that you can't see but can
Yes.
still feel?
Yes.
All right. That jar immediately sticks to you, and Sui's boots come flying across the room from where she had pulled them off, and they stick to your back.
And I have
All your items cling right to you, like a super magnet.
I'm like, Sui, everything's sticking to me.
Sweet Saddle repeats herself, saying, take the jar to the light jar. Clearly, she's using, it's very clear at this point that she's using you both as guinea pigs along with herself, which is
Yeah,
very
well, she always did that. I'm used to it. So I wander over to jar. Let's see. It would be jar B with jar A. Oh, everything's
Yeah.
sticking to me, and I walk over to jar B.
Yeah, well, that's when that happens. I thought you were already
okay.
gone up to it. So when you walk up to jar B, that's what happens. It just
Does jar B stick to me, or does it still sit there?
no, it's still sitting there in this
So
alcove.
jar B is also the one that when Sui opened it, it started raining on her, right?
Yeah.
We're all on the same page?
Yes.
That's the
All right, cool.
Sui, is that normal rain coming down on you?
I suppose so. It's not killing me yet, so if it's a curse, it's a very just slightly annoying one.
Yeah, it's exactly what it feels like. It's annoying more than anything else.
Well, I don't mind being annoyed. I try opening that jar while I'm sticking to this other one and see what
Right.
happens.
As everything is sticking to you, you open the jar, and as you do, this cloud forms above your head, and it starts to rain upon you as well. The jar that you're holding that's stuck to you disappears. It like leaves your hands.
Okay.
Does it go back to where it was?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, does it go back to where it was if I go over there and look for it?
Yeah, you go over with your new friend Rain Cloud, and as you peer into the alcove, you can see that the jar has returned to its original position.
I'm guessing we can only move one of these at a time, or open one at a time.
Yeah.
Let's kind
Does anything change with the one that had the sword on it? Is that one still how it was?
If you keep watching it, Sly, you would see that same thing. A sword of power would appear again, and over time it would shift, and then you would see this note upon it, and then it would disappear.
Can you see the
Yeah.
words on that note, Sly?
No, it's all folded up.
Lift the jar and look on the bottom of it.
So Sly picks up the jar, which is probably as big as he is, and he like kind of shimmies it up himself and tries to hold it over his head to look underneath it.
Muted.
Yeah, you look underneath, and it just looks like every other jar in all the other alcoves. There's no writing
And
upon it
nothing-
or anything. No, it
Nothing
feels.
happens when he picks it up or anything.
No, it seems to have the weight that you would expect. All right. So, one of the things that needs to happen is you need to place urns in those depressions. What you guys are doing are just using the urns in their alcoves. You guys, even without a roll, you guys, and I think maybe that was missed at some point. But even without a roll, you guys would be able to deduce that.
Yeah, but
Right.
what Speed was doing.
We know that. We're just trying to figure out what
Speed-
they are.
We're trying to see if there's like any clues, or if there's like, because there's 10 urns, but only 8 places to put the urns.
Right.
So we're trying to see if there's any clues with the urns.
Let me just recap things for you, and I'll let you guys decide from that. You're in Shraevyn's tomb. Shraevyn was a wizard who was renowned for crafting weapons of great power. There are 8 depressions and 10 alcoves. So you know 2 of these, 2 of these urns are like decoys or false urns, not intended to be used. You're certain that these, and I think you're on the right track, Marquise, when you started like, as you're looking at these urns, giving them some sort of trait. But I think you're overthinking it a bit. The biggest hint comes from the fact that this is Shraevyn's tomb, who was a wizard. Just think of wizards and what comes in 8 for wizards.
I have 8 schools of magic.
Hey, bing, bing, bing,
Second guess.
Give that man some.
Well, because one of them is clearly a transmutation. The other one's clearly a necromancy one. But I'm still trying to puzzle out the other ones. One of them's just fucking with me. So I'm assuming it's enchanted.
I'm assuming the moist dirt, like that one seems pretty irrelevant. Doesn't seem to follow any type of a school of magic or anything either. Not that I could think of. I mean,
Which one was that?
That's E.
Yeah, that's the moist dirt that just sits there and does nothing.
So I'm going to say, just out of character right now, I'm going to say that the likely candidates for the ones that are fake are going to be E, D, and then either J or I, because I don't understand J. I don't know if it's lightning or I don't know if it's just random energy or what. But those are the ones that seem to stand out to me as ones that seem fuckery, right? One of the disappearing one is obviously illusion, right? The light one, I think, is enchantment, maybe. The fire one you said is a shield, so that one might be abjuration. So
maybe it might be helpful for you guys if you guys all listed out the 8 schools, and then maybe with the hints of what the jars kind of.
I'll type them out right here. So we have transmutation, necromancy, conjuration, Abjuration, Avocation, Divination. That one's definitely the map one. That's 5 so far, right? We have Enchantment. What am I missing, guys?
You're missing illusion.
Illusion. Is that all 8? Or am I missing one still? I think I'm missing one still.
You have alteration on there.
Oh, alteration. There we go. Well, transmutation. Isn't that what that one is? Or are they separate?
Yeah, alteration is a old school, what they used to call it. But yeah, it's transmutation.
And then let me open this up real quick. Actually, wait, I can just open up the wizard schools and look at it through that. It's a lot smarter and faster to do.
So the one that emitted the light and then summoned the cloud of rain is probably conjuration. The necromancy is obviously the one that's undead. Transmutation is probably the one that added flowers to your boots. That sounds like transmutation.
Yeah. Did we say conjuration already?
Yeah, that would probably be the one that emitted the rain clouds and the light. Illusion's the disappearing one. So I is the one that
had a fire shield.
Yeah, but that's also the one that made your boots flowers.
No. That was B that made my boots flowers. That's the light one.
That's the bouncing one. Yeah, bouncing light one.
So before we go forward, let's go ahead and start like organizing these. So we have G equal undead equals necromancy, which I'm typing in here, right? With A equals disappearing, which equals illusion, right? We have C equals map equals divination, right? So what do we have next? We have B equals enchantment or conjuration. It's one of the two.
Okay, so B is that. So the B is the one that emitted the rain cloud and changed Sui's boots.
Yes, and it made someone magnetic.
It also made everything that was near Laurel Lynn stick to her.
So I'm gonna say
so that one's all types of fuckery.
Yeah. I'm going to say enchantment or it's a fake one. I'm going to go with enchantment for now.
I have no patience for that one.
That one's enchantment, so that one's B equals light jar. All right, I kind of got that one mixed up, but there you go. So we have 4 of them, it seems so far. So I'm going to say, Lyle, that as we're like listing these out, Suisato is putting those jars into the depressions.
All right, so as where do you get me? A.
So we have G, A,
so
C,
as you
B.
set jar A and jar G into these depressions, maybe you tell Sly to grab one of them and you grab the other and you set them in. As you set them in, the flares of sun. Could you just mute your mic, Kyle, because I'm getting feedback? Yeah, thanks. The ray of light coming off of the silver sun starts to glow as you set those 2 jars down. What was the other one you said you did?
C and B.
C and B. As you set C and B down, there's no glow. There's like a flash of brilliant light. It blinds you for just a very brief second, and when you kind of blink your eyes and your vision comes back, all the jars have been replaced back.
Okay, got it. So she's going to put back G, A, and C specifically.
Okay.
So do they get reset again?
Yep. No, they don't. But the G and A, when you set them in, again, those rays of light start to glow again.
Right. And C and B don't do anything for it. Well, C doesn't do anything. Right?
C is just sitting in a depression. There's no urn across from it. So
all right.
Nothing happens.
So she's going to put C back into the alcove and then put B into it.
Yeah, nothing happens.
I think we need to do them in pairs.
Do we? That
Yeah,
makes
I think
sense.
so. 2 at a time.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
So we have G and A definitely off the list for things we figured out.
Yeah,
H
you guys
is
should probably write that down if you've figured that out.
Yeah.
So
H
you're
is
a quarter of the way
transmutation.
there.
H
That's
is
the one that shapeshifted into the silver and then back and all that. So G G, A, C, and H all into a depression?
Well, we only have G and A in depressions right now because C and B are not doing anything.
Right, so we add C. Well, because if we have to do it in pairs, we do C and H.
Yeah, we
H
can
is
try C and H.
transmutation.
All right, so we put C and H into the depressions.
Yeah, across from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you put C and H across from each other, there's that flash again, and all of the urns are returned back to their.
Okay, so let's start it from the top, but this time with H and B.
Yeah, same thing. You get them set in, and then whoosh, there's that flash, and all the urns reset.
All right, so we have G and A back in there.
So they have to go together in a certain order. Maybe that has something to do with what the writing on the wall was too.
Times now, so after you do it a few times, I'm going to allow you guys to make an insight roll because you can kind of So everyone can make an insight roll right now. So you've gone through this 4 times.
I still have below a 10 on almost every roll tonight.
Well, Sly is on, so
I
thankfully.
don't think 8's going to help much either, but yeah,
So
he's a bard. He knows stuff.
So something well, you've survived by your wits. I mean, you have to. So you know that the jars that you've gotten from alcoves A and G are paired. When you set them in, and even if you set them in different depressions, the same effect happens. The rays coming off of the silver sun begin to glow, just very faintly. Anytime you've put any other of the urns in a different combination, they obviously don't pair, and it resets everything. You're starting to think that maybe, so illusionary and necromancy magic, those are opposed schools of magic. That's what you know, Sly. Just from your little bit of training, little bits you've heard here and there, just trying to pick up some of these arcane skills that you've learned over time. So you get with your role, you would probably surmise that you probably want to put opposing schools of magic in opposition in these depressions.
So Sly would convey that. He would say, okay, hold on. Isn't something with necromancy and illusion, we've established those to go together. Aren't they like opposites or something, though? Isn't that how it works? He would say that like to Swede.
Sweet Sally tries to understand how necromancy and illusion are opposites of each other, but she accepts it for the fact that it is. And she says to you, so then we need to find an evocation and an abjuration jar and put them opposite of each other. Yes?
I suppose. I think that's how it's supposed to go.
All right. So, Lionel, jar I was a fire shield, correct? All right. And jar J was just 2 beams of energy?
What jar J was, it was the crackling blue energy going along the outside of the jar.
All right, so we're gonna try this. So we're gonna try jars J and I next.
Okay. J and I. Okay. So one, the cloud has faded that was over you, Sui and Laurel Lynn. So you're still kind of wet from the rain that had been steadily falling on you, which is probably a good thing. As you grab the container on J, Sui, you take your fingers go numb, but you're able to hold on to it. You take 2 electrical damage, but you're able to hold the container. And as you do, it kind of dissipates the electricity that was kind of crackling along on the outside of it.
All right.
So you said J and I, you're going to place across from each other. So again, when you set them down, there's that flash.
God damn it, Lionel.
It's not me. It's not me. I swear to God.
God damn it.
You're close. So evocation is not opposed to abjuration.
What kind of logic is this opposite?
I don't know. I'm Gary Gygax logic.
If he says it's like evocation as opposed to like, I don't know, divination, I'm gonna fight who wrote this module and just beat him to the ground.
Well, think about it. Divination, you're seeing things. What might be a type of magic that would be?
Conjuration, where you pull things forth. All right, so we're gonna try We're gonna try. What the fuck would be the? Oh, we have no choice. So transmutation is the H.
Yes.
So we're gonna try doing. We're gonna do H and C.
H and C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it resets.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You're narrowing it down.
H and F.
Yeah. You do H and F. You set it back up, and it flashes.
Okay. Okay. This can only get so much closer. Okay. So
All right, everybody can give me another insight roll because you've had another 4 attempts.
And I got a 6.
Your Sui, I think, she doesn't have emotion, but this is probably the closest she's gotten. She's probably like, this is not logical.
She's thinking whoever made this trap had no idea what they were doing.
Right. So again, Sly and Laurel Lynn. So you guys both got a success. So you can each ask me one question to get a hint on how to pair these up. So you have a quarter of it. You have the illusion and necromancy.
You mean a question like, what would be the opposite of conjuration?
That would be a question.
I would ask that then.
Marquis said it, but I don't think he realized he said it. Divination and conjuration, summoning are two opposed magics. But I think you grabbed either that or you went and then you grabbed the wrong urn. You grabbed the abjuration urn.
Yeah, I was grabbing the wrong urn.
So yeah, you remember Sui saying that. Okay. And so so grabbing C and F. Grabbing those 2 urns and setting them in. And once you do, those 2 rays of sunlight glow that faint silvery light. And how about you, Sly? What are you able to deduce as you guys are just kind of puzzling through this?
Probably spend most of his time deducing which ones are phony.
Yeah. So I will give you. So the one that that sprouts flowers from your shoes is not. It's too unpredictable. It's too wild. It's no school of magic. Wizard magic is about following rules, arcane rules of the weave. So you believe that one is one to avoid.
So Sly would probably point at that one. That would be B, and then the one with the moisture and E, and be like, I just think that these 2 have nothing to do with this. I think those are the decoys. So let's focus on the rest of them.
All right. So quickly, just recapping really quickly. So there's the pairings that you have are illusion and necromancy, divination and conjuration,
which is F and C, right?
Yep. I know. Don't you be calling me names, Marquise. It's not cool, man. So you got 4 schools left: alteration, abjuration, evocation, and enchantment.
So J, I, H,
and D. D was the one with the sword. J was the one with the electric going around the jar. H was the one. What was H? H was.
Shimmering gold.
Oh, H was the one that shimmered, kind of went clay, and then abjuration was the one with the shield.
Okay, so wait, which one's the magic book again?
You've got that one.
Yeah, but like, which school of magic was it?
Conjuration.
Okay, so we've eliminated illusion, necromancy, conjuration, and what's the opposite of conjuration again?
Divination.
Divination. All right, so this is evocation, transmutation, abjuration, and enchantment. All right. If J is real, I feel that one has to be evocation. And if I is real, I feel that one has to be abjuration because it's a shield. All right. So I'm gonna say the opposite of evocation is it has to be enchantment or transmutation, since we know it's not abjuration, assumingly. Assuming my theory so far is correct. Which I don't think it is, because Lionel just smiled.
I know, I'm just smiling. I don't want to give anything away.
He's just laughing at the losers.
Now this is tough. I've run this game from my home group, and they took a long time to figure this out. And they had a map in front of them that they could actually see. I had labeled the map with the letters, and it still took them a while to figure it out.
All right. So you guys want to try H and D? I feel like I don't know. Yeah, you guys want to try H and D?
Let's just try
H
it.
is
Yeah.
transmutation, so then the weapon would be which one?
D.
Which would be opposite of transmutation, though.
Let's just
Wait,
try.
what'd you say with transmutation? Because H should be the
Transmutation.
fire.
No, H is
We don't have any
the one,
combination
the earth
left.
one. I is the fire.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
We already have I in place too, so H is the
No,
pot
you
that
don't.
turned into silver.
No, we don't have I in
You don't
place.
have
The
I
ones
in
we have in
place.
place are GAFC.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Just try H and D.
All right, let's try H and D, Lionel.
Yeah. Flash.
All right, let's try H and I.
Fuck me.
Silver.
Silver, so that one works.
Yep. So there's
Okay.
only two. There's only two openings now.
So J and D.
Yeah.
The minute you do that, the whole sun begins to glow, and it grows brighter and brighter. And as that light spreads across this chamber and it strikes that far door, you hear the door.
Does my sword give
Release.
you a ping?
It does not ping. You sense
Okay.
no warning, but you do hear the catch. The magical door has been released.
Jesus Christ. I feel like for the rest of this dungeon, I don't even want to be in character anymore. I have to go full OSR mode on this and just decipher things.
Yeah, you definitely got to be in old school role playing mindset, because when they make these riddles and stuff, there's not always. I don't know. The logic is not. Oh, it's obvious to the writer, but it's not always obvious to the player. So the door opens and it just swings soundlessly open, and it reveals a 20-foot wide passageway that leads deeper into this tomb. And I think we will end it there. Just because I'm just looking at time, and
The next riddle is going to take us another hour.
or encounter might take us a bit. So what it does is it reveals this chamber, and I'll leave you with this image of as this kind of this crimson glow goes, because the silver fades after the door opens, and you can see a statue off in the distance, and you see that the hallway goes either way, and we'll leave it at that. And I want to say thank you very much for playing. That was a really, so let me just give you. I almost rewrote that part of the adventure just because it can be so frustrating as a player, and even for a game master, because I just want to give you guys hints. The hints in here are terrible. I just wanted to give you that. The hints are terrible.
What are they like?
Well, the hints are the things that I read you. The things that I read you, those are your hints. Let me tell you something. In hindsight, if I read them to you, if I read the title like enchantment, then I read the little block text to you, you'd be like, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah. And if I read like the one that made the flowers grow on your shoes, that's wild magic.
That's what I thought. I thought the one was sorcery after you said it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's sorcery. They didn't have sorcery back then, but that's what it would have been.
So what was the dirt? Just dirt?
It symbolized the four elements: dirt, air, water, and underneath the dirt, thankfully none of you guys poked it, is flame, and it would have exploded up and burned you. But the four elements were in that jar, which are not part of the schools of magic. But that's what the hint on the door was. It's giving you a hint that one of the one jar that wasn't part of the solution. So yeah, I almost rewrote that a bit, but then I was like, I said when we were going to play this game, we're going to play it old school way. Yeah. So we are. But anyways, it was you guys did awesome. There was some really good creativity out there. So just I think we're going to end it on that. Thanks for playing. We're going to end the broadcast, but don't run off, guys, because I do want to talk with you about a couple things.